right, Devils, how we doing? Happy Friday. Oh, let's see, it's 12:30 for me here in Austin. Well, no question, bulls are bleeding at the moment. There's definitely some technical damage done to a good number of bullish counts here. We're going to review those and then take a look at where there may be some opportunity. But at the moment, right, it's a bit ugly across crypto, right? Again, some real damage done. So whenever you have something like this happening, always a good idea to not get too caught up into the shorter term price action. Step back. This is a 3-day on Bitcoin, right? We've looked at this many times. That make you think we've topped? Well, if I draw it, you could make a case here that we've done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right, so there's a case, right, for the bears. Possible? Absolutely. What would the implication be if the 5 is in here, that we're going to make a much deeper retracement, right, with 50, 60K? I'm willing to take the other side of that bet. I'm not more than willing. I am taking the other side of that bet because I'm not selling any Bitcoin here. This count, I think, again, you got to kind of think longer term, right? Just outside of the TA, given the kind of the very positive environment we have for crypto. To be making that significant of a decline, there would have to be some event here that would be beyond any anticipation to suggest that we're, if I draw it up for you, right, from low to high, if the top is in, we're going to come down into the 40s, make a 50% retracement. Again, I will all day long take the other side of that bet. Right, so up to you whether again, that's not financial advice, as they say. I think much more probable. Again, this is my opinion, that we're in a 1. We're seeking a 2 before we go 3, 4, and then perhaps we have a more reasonable target up here. What do I got there? 207, something in that range. That we finish the 5th up here, and then, were we to then, at this high, and again, I'm speculating up here. Still, right, we're going to make that kind of a retrace after completing this. Well, just basic Elliott theory would suggest that's a range. It would be, somewhere in the 3, 4 down in this range. A whole lot of things have to happen before we're worried about that. But we shall see, of course, right now. So as we sit here looking at this, now you got to say, okay, well, what? All right, that's all fine and dandy, for 20 end of 20. What do I got there? A year away, right? Could we be there in a year? Well, that's how I'm approaching it. So now I know you can't see in here. We'll dig in there for a second, but just always a good, before you panic, what do the institutions want you to do? You don't think they want your Bitcoin? Yeah, they do. So panic sell because we're having a soft week here. You got to make your own decisions, as to what you're comfortable with. It's kind of a nice example to just kind of whisper in your ear, particularly with Bitcoin. Trading with leverage is how you end up giving institutions your Bitcoin, which you don't want to do. Okay, so there's just, again, keep something somewhere, weekly, 3-day. Keep some perspective. Of course, now this is in log scale, and I have the logarithmic channel on this. Does that make you want to sell it? I know. You can look at it and say a 5's in. All right, we're done. Would that be a reasonable count? Absolutely. Does it make sense in the broader macro backdrop? Again, I'll take the other side of that all day long. Okay, so let's go. Let's go to a daily here and see if we can get a look in here. We'll start to open this up a bit. Now, the premise would be, right, given the golden here that is held, that we've got an A, B, C going in. Oh, shit, let me get out of here. I can get that 3 up here. 5 is up here. So many analyticians have favored this count. It's not my favorite, but here, as we sit here now you will take note here. We are still in an algo fib fight here, right? We're just between 2 goldens. It's incredibly common. Now, who's going to win that, right? How do you know? Well, the only way you would have any assumption that you would have some sort of edge would be the context here. Now, if you're applying Elliott Wave, we can make a case for an A, a B, and then pushing down for a C. But of course, we have to see what happens when we challenge this golden again. Now, second challenge, it will be weaker. So if we are going to get through that, you can see the algo target here on the other side of that would put us down here at 103. If we're going deeper than that for, again, just using traditional, what do they usually do? If this is a completed one wave and we're looking for a wave two to make a 50% retracement, that would put us sub 100K. 100, you can see there's an order block sitting right here. You might target that as well. So if we're coming down to do that, well, I would consider that a massive buying opportunity. Oh my God. So, don't fret. I know you look at your balance. Mine's down too, right? I mean, you can't react emotionally there. I mean, again, you hear me say this often. I don't know if there is anything that's more emotional than money or the loss of money. All right, so if anyone long is feeling the drawdown pain, there's no question about it. Blood in the streets. Well, I don't know if we're there yet, but if we start to break down here and we're heading towards 100K, you're going to have a lot of panic selling. And again, there will be plenty of institutions that will step up, gladly take your Bitcoin, gladly. Right? What do they say? Well, you want to buy when there's blood in the streets or panic amongst traders. I don't think we have panic yet. There's no reason for that. But certainly, as we go over to the alts, right, there's some real damage has been done. Now, okay, one ABC into a two. No, well, let's go. Oh, let's go to an 8 hour here. All right, so let me take this off now, just since we've made the point there. Oh, where are you? Let's get that off of there. A, you can see him. A, B. There's a case for this to be a WXY as well. I'm just kind of simplifying here. Whether it's a WXY, well, it will matter. Oh, let's go to a 3 here in terms of what we get here. Is this 1, 2? Well, I should probably put them in here just to be consistent. If this is WX and we're going to do a Y down here, well, this plays just as cleanly. Oh, it'd have to be AB 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, a diag into this, right? So we'll put them side by side. A, B, C, or again, just keeping it simple, right? Just A, B, C. Now, A, that's a shallow B. We're going down for a C. Or, of course, the alternate, which would be more bearish, would be that we've done a 1, 2. I'm not ready to go there yet. We've had a break of structure. There's the retrace that you can anticipate after every break of structure. All right, so there's the break. Now we're consolidating down here, a little retrace into the fair value gap, which is always a point of interest. You can see the last time we went into some gaps here that drove us down here. Now back to where we have the imbalance here, enough to trigger the next retrace, right? If this is down here and we're coming back, if we clear it, well, we've got another one up here. So could this be completed? Well, that certainly doesn't look like anything anything that would suggest we're finishing. Well, what do we have here? We have contraction, right? What do we know? One of the, you hear me say this all the time. One of the only things we can say with certainty will come out of that expansion. Which way? Well, let's play it out. If this is an A and that's a B, does that look like it's done? No, it really doesn't. Right? Now, again, market's under no obligation to do anything ever. It's going to do what it's going to do. We're just trying to look for opportunities where we can find an edge. So if this is an A and that's a B, oh, you might have to do it over here as well. But you had kind of the same thing here. Note this. You went into this consolidation. Oh, I should probably. Oh, let's just call that an order block here, just to get a different color here. So this consolidation here, you get volatility comes out of it. Now look, you can kind of see what happens here. This is, oops, always the kind of thing you want to be mindful of, right? What are the algos looking for? They're looking for liquidity. Where are they going to find it? Under the pivots. So you see this twofold here. You see these swept here, reaction up into the, so this is external liquidity goes to internal liquidity, what goes to external liquidity. Now we're coming back, internal liquidity, right? They like to alternate that way, right? They're just moving to where they're going, where there's going to be liquidity. Another word for it would be where the stops. Where's retail putting their stops? Around the pivots, which is why, right? You see this over and over, and To the point of people telling me, it's enough, right? We get the point. You see it up here. I mean, you will see it at almost every significant pivot. Now, there's, not absolute. There are no absolutes in the market, but there are very strong price action patterns that we see, right? That are tied to liquidity grabs, right? Because that's how the algos move. They've got to find that liquidity. You're not going to find them, right? Just in random price action because they disrupt the market too much. In fact, the tell, of course, always, right? It's 20,000 ICT traders telling you this, right? The tell is the imbalances, right? When they step into the market, right, they move the price, right? So because they're trading in size, retail, we can't move the price, right? So it's a bit of a tell. Which way do you see imbalances being created, right? So obviously, as we sit here now in this consolidation, you would continue to favor downside, right? Because of all the imbalances created here on the way down. This would be very improbable to find this as a termination. A, B, C? Well, I mean, you don't have much of a, come here. You don't have much of a 2 in here. If that's your 2, you're going to try and do a 3, 4, 5. Yeah, again, right, there's no absolutes in the market, but very, very strong tendency if you're playing Elliott Wave to be looking for 5s to begin and end any sort of price structure. Any price action here, whether we're finishing or we're ending, we're looking for a 5. Now, does that mean that every time we've got a pivot, there's always forever and ever and ever there's going to be a 5? It's not what I'm saying. These are tendencies where we can look for an edge. Right now, I would be very reluctant to call that a low. Could it be? Well, of course, right? Anything's possible. It's just, is it probable? That's all we ever get, right? There is no certainty in the market ever. Don't think anyone who tells you there is guard your wallet. There is no certainty. There's only probabilities, right? So this looks improbable to be a low. Oh, same thing. Let's see my logs here. Yeah, I am. Same thing here. I'm just going to use a regression channel, right, to pull this down. Okay, as long as we stay here, trend is lower. 2 standard deviations on either side of it here. A little retrace here. I'd pay attention to that. Now, if we start to go much higher here, right, you might think it, if we went down to a 30-minute. Still, right, that is not, well, that would be very atypical of a concluding pattern here. You could, I suppose, right, again, there's a bit of a wag here as to where the 1 is. That's a wild-ass guess, but at least that's a little bit of a retracement here. Again, consolidation. 1, 2, 3. Oh God, pick your 3. So I might be here looking for, okay, let's get a wave 4 template on that. Right, so something in here, right into this imbalance before we shoot down, challenge that golden. Is that, Bitcoin's pretty notorious for shallow 2s, both up and down. Do I know that's the 2? Of course not. But as it sits right here, I mean, could it be here? Perhaps. There's no reason to make a hard choice here. Let's let the market reveal itself, right? It will. It always does. So we shall see, how we come out of here. Some other ways that this could play. But right now, as that sits here coming into this imbalance, my bias would be to the short side. If where's the better risk reward? Right, again, would I love that as a 1, 2, 3, 4? No. Am I going to trade it? No. But if someone said to me, right, okay, again, gun to your head, where's the better risk reward? I mean, you could be pretty tight with that. Well, there's almost 4 to 1. Just using the other side of the imbalance here, even if you go up a candle, probably bring it down, something like this. Well, punchy little short. It could be, right? So if you're jonesing for a trade, yeah, I don't like this as much, although it's certainly possible, because the 3 is too short. But it could be here. It could be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It could be. Now, is there a possibility this is going WXY? Well, come here. This certainly looks like an impulse here, right? So A, B, C into the B. Again, it's a bit of a wag here. There's no Elliottician who can tell you with any certainty what we have here because it's unclear. So why force a trade? My suggestion would be to hold off here. Market will reveal itself. Let's give it a chance to do that. In terms of what it wants to do here, again, note, I wouldn't be shooting for a huge home run here on a short, because you got a golden down here, which we know will at least be some resistance, right? It's likely that there'll be a reaction here. Again, that doesn't mean we can't get through it, right? We've gone golden to golden, right? It's very, very, very common. Okay, so that's enough on Bitcoin, I think. I don't think there's anything to do here other than be patient and maintain that perspective long term. Okay, with that said, let me come over to ETH here. I have the big three teed up here. Let's go to ETH and do the same thing. ETH looks a lot better. Now here, I'm on a 3-day. I've got a much cleaner looking impulse here and a nice little 3 going into the correction. Where's the highest probability location for a wave 4? We're sitting right there now. 23.38. And that's a 3-day. Target up here, call it 6 grand. Nice looking target there. Nice looking price action here. I think very little dispute would be amongst Elliottians, right? Which of course, because it can be, there's the possibility of multiple interpretations, right? This, I think, would be very low probability you'd have Elliottians arguing as to whether or not you had something impulsive here. Well, we certainly have an impulse, a correction, an impulse, and a correction. Now, do we get the final impulse, or is this going to be another ABC? Well, right now, there's no reason to assume that. And given the price action here, see how we're reacting off of that imbalance there, which is just, kind of suggesting, right, bulls still in control. Could that be the ABC of the 4? Again, I wouldn't bet against it. I'm not, right? As a matter of fact, right? I think that's a decent opportunity here to get involved in ETH or to add to your ETH position here. Based off of that, let's go down to a 4-hour and look at that. Just going down, right? Again, you'll always hear me try to remind you that Elliott will always be cleaner and more easy to interpret on higher time frames, right? So if we look here, that sure looks like we went into the 4 here, and we've done our 5. Now let me bring this down to something reasonable. Oh, let's go to we'll put it in white here. Could this be the? It's hard to argue with it. Oh, A, B, C. Let's take this down micro, right? So, okay, could we have RC? Right now, we just talked about it. We begin and end in 5s, right? When Elliott is clear and almost impossible to miss. Well, let's measure here. Just good. It takes so little time. Let's just see how we did here. All right, broke through the 100, right? We get to the second most common, right? 123, 127.2, 138.2. Boy, what? Now, is that enough to take the trade? Well, let's dig in there a little. Oh, come here. Let's dig in there a little bit. Oh, give me a second here. Let's take you off. Oh, get off of there. I think I had it twice. I did. Let's get you off of there. Okay, right? So what do we see at the moment, right? Well, the next imbalance we see, we've got a sweep here of liquidity at the low. Now we're coming up to internal liquidity. All right, and look how nicely this plays here as an impulse to come down. So I would keep going down. Where do I see a fair value gap? I had some people asking me last week, can you help me with entries? Well, we want to go down and find a fair value gap, as that's often the tell that institutions are starting to move here. We here, do I have anything here? I don't, right? The only fair value gap I have is here. So I will keep going. I want to find the highest time frame where I've got a fair value gap, right? Because again, that's the tell that we've got institutions involved. That doesn't look particularly good here, and I'm going to the 15, right? So I don't really have anything. So here I've got it. Okay, so now from an Elliott perspective, does that look like a launch pad? Not really, but at least here I can start to see that bullish imbalances, right, are being respected. This would make me want to see if algos are involved here. Looks like they might be. No, it's hard to argue with that. Now that's wicks going through, right? We have no close below. Now, granted, I'm pulling. Let's get that up here. I'm pulling from the secondary pivot, and I'm on the aggregate. Right, so you can't trade it here. You go to your favorite exchange. Mighty close there. Certainly, given where we are, it looks like they stayed with it. So I've got bullish imbalances here suggesting that the buying here is with muscle, but I don't have a great looking launch here. I don't particularly like the idea of a 1-2-1-2. That would leave you then thinking, oh, could this be ABC? All right, we're going to do some sort of a diag. Possibly. Right, again, if it's that unclear, it makes me cautious. Now, we're down to a 15. I just told you here, you're always better to check and read the Elliott on 60 minutes or above. So if you're looking at that, it doesn't make me want to chase it. It makes me want to wait because this is unclear to me. So, you know, again, that's with my Elliott hat on. Okay, have I done anything meaningful here in terms of structure breaks? Well, where's the most obvious liquidity is, well, we could use really all of this up here these as liquidity targets. I don't love this launch, so as a result of that, I'm going to wait. Sorry. Hang on. Austin allergies plague me. Once again, okay, so that's a hurry up and wait for me. I will let this clarify. I don't know if stick the highest pivot up here. Got some resistance up here. We're going to need to clear. 1-2-1-2, again, less likely. ABC. Again, I don't feel the need to rush anything here. I don't like the launch here. Is it possible that we're doing something corrective again? Well, of course, anything's possible. Now, you see here, right, when we're coming down, the bearish imbalances here, the bearish fair value gaps are being respected. Now we're coming back here. We're going to challenge. Here's the next one we have to challenge. Well, actually, there's one right here. We have to challenge it. It's in it right now on a 3-hour, right? So here's the imbalance. It's already been tapped once, so it'd be less likely here to get a big reaction there. So again, I'm just going to kind of watch here and see. Okay, well, if I start to get something that starts to look like a 5, now you could make the mistake here and say, oh, well, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, pardon me. Shouldn't say mistake, but you'd want to go down to read to the 60 minutes, the 30 minutes, and say, do I really have a 1 there? Now you can say, oh fuck, man, who cares? You know, look at that candle. Well, okay, if you're that gung ho, have at it. My counsel would be, what are you worried about missing? That we're going to go vertical here? So you're gonna chase it? Well, let's just assume, right, that we end up with something here that we have to reconcile that initial 1 diags, something atypical happens here. Let's get you out of there. If this turns into a 5, well, we can anticipate if we're doing this. If we do that, if right, with a shaky 1, but if we do that, well, right, what do we anticipate after that? Right, retrace. Let's say we get up here. I'll wait, right, for that to confirm for me. Show me the 5. I'll take the retrace because I'm looking for the 3. Just as a point of caution, right? I'd want to see where the golden is coming back up. Right, I got a 50, and here's my golden, right? So if I get to here, oh, what could that be, right? 1, 2, 1, right? If I'm going to get a 3, again, the impulse is not optional; it must come. So the 1 of the 3. Lots of upside potential here, but see the concern here is that you're chasing a big candle. It's my view, always better to let it show its hand. Show me the 5. I'll take the next 3. Oh, what if it? I'm not saying that's not possible. It's just less probable, right? That's all we get, right? It's probable. Okay, right, so that's ETH. Again, I wouldn't chase there. I would just be watching closely here, right? And I'd avoid the leverage here. But it's my recommendation. And then we'll finish up here with the majors here. Look at Ripple. This one I'm watching very closely because the potential here is we're going to lose the impulse. So 1, 2, 3. Where's the 4, right? Now I've kind of pushed it off, right? This was always a bit of a shaky one too. Now, just at this distance, hard not to see the potential for that to be a 3. Right? Is this A, B, C? Well, that would imply the 4 has to come over. We're going to do a more complex 4. Now, we don't need to go there yet, right? So if you're in Ripple, we don't need to go there just yet, but it's being threatened. What's the threat here? If this were to be a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, we're going to diag into the 1, that's the 2. Well, we don't want this to get swept. And look where it is, right on the edge of that imbalance, right? Which is why you would want to stay, if we apply the internal count to this, 1, 2, 3, is that 4, and we're going 5 here. Well, you can see here, this says yet to be tested. We've got the imbalance here. This was fully tested. That really should be off the chart here, but the way the software does it, it has to close below before it pulls it off. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, well, if this gets swept, then what's your? Again, this is I would propose to you the beauty of Elliott. If this gets swept, right, we would start reducing it. Well, certainly we'd eliminate the possibility of an impulse. Could it then in turn be a diag? Well, you're going to have a hard time turning that into a 3. Well, let's go to daily. This always was a little shaky on the 1, but it's not like we get perfect impulse in every one that we've ever seen, right? It's not how the market moves. So you're making a judgment call here. 1, 2, 3, break of structure. There's the retrace, right? So it's right by the market structure playbook. Here's the low that would really start to affect this. But we can't eliminate the possibility here that we've done an ABC, an ABC, and now we're going to do another ABC. A WX. This the A. Right, we haven't swept that yet. So there's no need to go there yet. But I would certainly have this teed up as a possibility. It doesn't kill the bull count long term. Does not. But as a bull, well, a pretty aggressive holding here. I certainly would like to see this hold. So we'll see if it does, right? It's not like I'm going to sell my Ripple if this breaks, but I would be mindful of where this may be going, right? Again, where do they usually go? Let's get back to a gray box, right? Where's the highest probability location for wave 4? 2338. If we're coming in here, right? Okay, well, we're going to have to wait a little longer. Okay, hang on a sec. Oh, just a quick peek here. I'm over on CoinGlass. This is I'm logged in, but this is I'm in the free version here. We can still get a pretty good look here. We see the ETF outflows are negative, had been, or we see the price coming down, and then we can we got the Bitcoin ETF is up here as well. We can see the same thing as you might suspect, right? ETF outflows. And we can get them here. I have been negative, right? So some selling here as the price comes down. I remind you, the retrace is healthy for the bull market, right? It's not a negative, even though your account may be looking at some drawdown. They need the retrace, right? The retrace is part of a bull market, right? You need it because the algos need that liquidity, and it's not up above; it's below. So don't fret too hard, right? Now again, I'm not loving this price action, certainly. In particular, there's a few spots where it's been really devastating, and that's where I'm headed next. Let's go over to the S's, Solana and SUI. So let's do Solana first because all of the potential bullish activity here is blown up, right, with this retrace here. So you kill one impulse, and then the other impulses all kind of go with it. So all of the potential ones here have been invalidated. So you have to step back. You have to pull this back and go, okay, well, if it's not going to be a series of impulsive moves that are taking this much higher, much like we just looked at with some of the others, with the exception of Ethereum, if this now, WX, what are we anticipating? Why? So let's go to 3-day here. Same thing as before, 3-day, and get some perspective on that. It's been so, the Elliott's been so good here. 1, 2, 3, all good until we got here, right? And that's always the challenge, right? Is it 1, 2, 3, 4, or are we going to go ABC? Well, sooner or later, here the market has told you, right? Much more probable now that this is a corrective move here, and we're going to head down here, something like this, looking to get out of here, right? So this, as far as I'm concerned, if it's coming down here, that's a gift. That's a gift to bulls. If you're a bear, well, you're just, you're loving this price action here because it confirms that bearish bias here. So as we come down here, the implication now is that we've got a zigzag, 3 to come to balance this out. It's not too crazy if I do this. Let's see if I can do that. So how we essentially be doubling it. So let's see if I can clone that. If I double that. So this being the length of time of the 2. Could we double it for the 4 and then put us out here at end of the year? I can't. I'm not thrilled about it. Where did I pull this from? Oh shit. I think I pulled that. Let's do the whole thing. From this low, right? Where's the value? Down here. So if we're coming down here, we don't have a lot. There's not a lot of support here, right? We've already come down here. So if I let's get rid of this. Coming down here, well, another thing you might check. You're going to see some parity. Get this out of here now. WXY down here. Is that me? Did I draw that? No, that's a fair value gap that hasn't been mitigated, tapped. Right, so still potential for that to come down here again. As far as I'm concerned, that's a gift from the crypto gods if we're able to buy it down here under $100. It's not there yet, right? But certainly one to be watching here again. All those bull counts blown up, right? Disappointing, but that's the reality of trading, right? You got to look at that and go, okay, well, does that mean we were wrong? Right? You're wrong. Are you wrong? I get a lot of people. Well, you were wrong about Solano. Okay, fuck off. Number one. 2, that's not the way to think of it, right? You can't see after the fact. Oh yes, right. So all those bullish 1 2 1 2 1 2 that we were looking at a week or two ago, was that incorrect at the time? That was perfectly valid. The price action changes that, so you adjust accordingly. It's, again, I say this all the time. It's not about being right. It's not. Never has been. It's about being profitable. Can you be wrong and have your TA invalidated and still be profitable? Well, obviously. Certainly, right? Now, the idea that we had gone 1 2 1 2 1 2 was very aggressive, but there was no reason not to think that until they get invalidated. Now you adjust and say, here, well, now could this be wrong? Yes, of course it could be. At this moment in time, every time I do a video on these on Friday, it's a snapshot in time based on what we can see right now. That looks like the path of least resistance is lower. We have some context here that makes sense. We heading down here? If we don't, right, don't spare me the comments. No, you're wrong again. Right? Everybody, I don't care who you are, is wrong more than they're right. Period, period, period. You're wrong more than you're right, right? So you have to be able to make money being wrong more than you're right. And what's the only way that plays, right? What's the only way that can happen? It's just simple math, right? You gotta make more when you're right than you lose when you're wrong. It's pretty basic math. Okay, all right, so we've covered Solana. Let's go over to SUI also. Not completely blown up, but the idea that we had a 1 going in here to come off of the 2 here, now invalidated. So as we sit here now, what could it be? Well, I'm still working on the, let's use this one. Still working on the premise that we've gone 1 2, and this is yet another 1, and now we're going through a complex 2 here. So we've gone W, X, Y, X, now looking for the Z to come down here. So it's complex, but it's still a 3 that you're looking for to get it done. For this 1 2. Now, is that what I wanted? That's what it looked like we had 2 weeks ago? Definitely not. Definitely not. What do we do, right? So you adjust relative. So if you got stopped out here, well, you thank the stop. Don't yell, fucker, and bam, stopped. Stop did its job. What's next, right? Now, based on what we can see here, is there some reason to be getting much more bearish? Not that I see, right? Break this golden, I might change that tune a little bit. But as it sits right now, I've got a W, X, Y, X. This the same conundrum down here. Let's pull that off for a second. Is this 1? Certainly looks like it could be. And also, it looks like the A could be going here. We're going to go up for another B. This could be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 into an A. Retrace into the B. A. Right, given the range and the price action here of this WXY, if we're going to go A, B, C into an X, and this is A, B, C, well, that's not out of the realm of possibility by any means. Although it's taking a lot of time. That's the wild card in here. This impulse here, the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is abrupt and quick. This is a long, slow, painful correction. 1, 2, 1, long wait. It certainly would be hard to interpret this move here as what it is an impulse, right? It's not that it's hard. It is an impulse, right? After the fact, we can be sure. There's no question about it. That's an impulse. We're in the process of correcting it. So where might we be going? Nothing says we have to stop at that golden. This is just often where we're going to see algo activity, right? We could go a tick below it, or excuse me, a tick off of that low and still be a valid 2. Could we go 707 and pick up that internal liquidity here? Certainly could. Looks like I drew this as an order block last week down before we go up. So could we go in that low? Well, this is the pivot that matters. It stays at 2 until that breaks. What was that? It's a Z. We stays at 2 until this breaks. Then different ball game. All right, changing gears just a little bit here. I'm over on AltFins. This is a site I recommend highly. There is an affiliate link, right, to full disclosure, in our link tree, because I do recommend them here. So I'm over on their on-chain data here. There's a whole lot that they do here, but this is useful here. Not this is the only source for this data, no, but it's particularly good one. It's easy to read. So I'm paying attention to total revenue, protocol revenue. I look at both of these. Okay, who's making money? TRX almost always is out front here. Interesting, right? So I looked at all of these that are what do we got here? 4, 7, 8, 9, 10. The top 10 here that are making money currently. And then I just made a little a watch list of all of them. I think 4 of the 8. I think there's only 8. Oh, but pardon me, there was ETH was in there as well. But since we already looked at ETH, I thought I'd stay with it. I went through all of them. The top 4 here look like they did in this my little list here. Look like they have some trade potential. Now, Tron has never had a particularly good-looking Elliott count here, but we certainly have a trend. Right? It's hard to miss, right? It's just higher highs, higher lows the whole way. Then we do get a retrace here. Where does it go? Coincidence? I would propose to you not, right? So I'm just pulling from this low here. Here's the last swing up, retrace. Note, it's not the 618, right to the golden zone. So we get the reaction here. We run into an imbalance up here, and then it looks like we're doing that retrace. So would there be any reason to assume that we wouldn't do the same thing here, knowing that these algos like to move? Oh, there's probably another one here. They like to move in this kind of format, where they go from one that's just wick down here. So it's a series, right? They like to work in a series. If I pulled this back here to that low, you'd probably have it here. So swing, retrace, swing, retrace, swing, retrace, right? So it stays with that trend. No reason to assume that trend is going to fail, right, until we were to break at this low. But as it sits right now, if we're coming in here, that retrace looks interesting. And then, I remind you, they're certainly making money. Both protocol revenue as well as total revenue here. Pretty impressive, right? So I'm certainly not a crypto to ignore. I mean, they're full utility. There's a use case, not a meme coin. So I would certainly, if it was a meme coin, right, they wouldn't be making money. So this is potentially here an area of interest that I would pay attention to. Is that a beautiful looking one? Well, that's a daily. Oh, let's try a 2-hour here. It doesn't have particularly good looking Elliott. Big push here. A, B, oh God. 1, 2, 3, 4. Maybe you got a diag to finish this. I'd be watching for this down here. So because I'm always trying to give a bull something to bite on, the potential, right, for this to be coming down here as we look at this kind of price action here. If we're going to continue to come down lower here, I'd be looking down here in the 326 in that range for potentially some reaction here. Very big pump here. to come back and retrace that. There's no, let's see what I'm on crypto, so I can't pull. I would pull a volume profile as well. I'm on the aggregator here, so I can't get volume. But swing, retrace. Lots of imbalances above. So bullish imbalance, fair value gaps being inverted. There's nothing but wick down here. So you might set an alert down here, see how we look here. I've also got that's the regression channel here as we come into that. Would be an area of interest, right? So that's one for your watch list here. I don't think it's ripe just yet, but I would certainly keep an eye on that. Uniswap, kind of similar. Let me pull out to a daily. You can already see what I'm focusing on here. Things that are not coincidental, that I can't make up, right? So call it an impulse. Well, I think more reasonable to 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we could call this a 1. Look like we're going into a 2, 3, 4, 5. Lots of upside potential there, but that's pretty. I don't know that I would sit here and buy that. We've had a sweep here, but then I would do the same thing as I said before. I would start going down. Okay, well, let's go to the 4. Any imbalances here? Let me get this. Take this off because it highlights the inside bars. That can be confusing. It looks like a fair value gap. Okay, so I've got lots of imbalances above that have to be broken through. Look where we are, right? We're dancing in the golden zone. So I'd want to see, let's see, there's a 4. Let's go to a 1. So nothing, right? It's not likely yet. It's not there yet. I've got this imbalance here. It's clearing, right? So that potentially inverts. But it looks like some of the others we looked at. Does that look like a 1, 2? I don't like to go below a 60-minute. See, we're bouncing into this imbalance. 15 is as low as I would go for any sort of Elliott count here. So I've got a little bit of an imbalance here. That's not dramatic and a lot of wick rejection there. So if you looked at that, what are you thinking? 1, 2? Well, that's not much of a 1. Thus why I always suggest stay 60 minutes or higher for Elliott counting, right? Which is essentially we're swing trading. So can we push out of here? Well, if I had to label it, I'd want to see something like that. At least I've got a clean 3 on the way down, but then 1, 2, pushing on the 3, not much of a 1. And I'm on a 60. Is that you're going to go 1, 2 there? At least I have a little imbalance here. Same kind of thing. I'd like to see that start to get a little bit more developed. Just me personally, I'm not worried about this running to the moon. If it's going to put something impulsive in here, there will be opportunities to get involved. What's the right? Easy to forget, right? Easy. I'll pick the highest pivot down here. Resistance, right? There's an inverted, or pardon me, a fair value gap right there would be potentially tied to that resistance here. So I'd be mindful of that. But again, don't force it just because you need a trade, right? You don't ever need a trade. Wait for them to show up and have all the conditions that you're looking for. I'm just kind of giving you a few here to get on your radar while the rest of crypto is selling off. These would be a few where you might pay attention here for some bullish activity. I think there's 2 more here. This one, let me go back to go to a daily here. Pull this back. This is Athena. Hard to argue with an impulse. Looks like you've gone 3, 3. Oh shit. Probably WX. No, it looks like you'd have to do this as A, B, expand the B into a C. So if swing low to swing high, I'm just tagging the 50 where I have an imbalance. So that another one I'd have on my radar. Same thing for entry. There's a daily. Oh, let's go down to a 60. See if we have anything there that might give us some points of interest. Not a great looking start. They're all kind of wrestling with the sell-off of the week. So I wouldn't look at that and go, oh, one's going in. I'd look at that and going, okay, I'm going to watch it. But that's not good enough, at least for me. That's not good enough for me to take a trade on it. But I'm going to keep an eye on it. I'm not going to, my suggestion is to stay, because we're swing trading, I'd stay at 60 minutes. Look for an imbalance on the 60 minutes and higher. If you're day trading, right, you can certainly go down to lower to 15-minute, 5-minute. But for a swing trade, I want to see 60 minutes and above. I want to see imbalances on the 60, and that does not look like a particularly good launch point. Although if this starts to accelerate, okay, well, that might clean itself up. Last one I think is pump.fun. Same thing. Look where we're bouncing. Coincidental? Let you draw your own conclusion there. Now, it's pretty deep for a 4. So if I put this back in a log scale, there we go. All right, so 1, 2, 3. Does it need to be in log scale? Well, it's 4 times the range. Yeah, it is. All right, so bouncing off the 50, now that 4 looks a lot better. And note where we're bouncing, right, off of that imbalance here. Yes, the wick swept the low. But that looks pretty appealing. Now, at this distance, let's go down to a 4 here. Hard to argue with the 5 that's going in there, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? Much like we looked at Bitcoin and ETH and the others, certainly doesn't, that's what they look like, right? That's what a 4 looks like, right? We consolidate. Now, which way are we coming out of that? So you're going to do this as A, B, C. Can't say I love that, right? So while this has a clean technical reaction here, the topping consolidation here, it seems anything's possible. This to go, well, let's use the other one. To look at this and think, oh, A, B, C. No. But you're kind of left here going, well, with them what? Truncation here. So I would be, so what that means to me, I'm not saying that's not possible. Let's go down to a 60. See if that cleans it up any better. This is just, again, what is that? That's consolidation, right? The only thing we know is certainty. From that consolidation will come expansion. So back to consolidation. So I can't say I love this, right? You're kind of guessing up here. Is that it? Is that it? Is that it? What's the risk here that this is A, B, C? We're going to do something deeper. So thus, if I'm looking at that and now we're going, well, geez, I want to trade that. Well, first, let's see if it can clear some of these imbalances, right? That's just natural liquidity the algos will seek. So looking to get out of here, well, I have nothing on the buy side here. I have no imbalances here suggesting possibly one going in here. I have nothing suggesting muscle is stepping in here. The only thing that's conducive to a potential pivot here is that we've swept a low. We swept a low, but okay, give me some sort of imbalance here. And oh god, that's a 1, 2. Again, you're forcing a count there because you're like, shit, I gotta do something. No, you don't. Right? Worst thing to do is force a trade just because you're feel like you need to. Oh, I got to do something. I'm trading, so I got to be in the market. No, that's a good way to get yourself into deep trouble and reinforce a lot of really bad habits, right? This is a pretty good looking 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I would certainly want to see a 5 come out of this. And the first 5 has got to be off the low. You see, even if it's going to be an ABC and we're going to do something like this and then head lower again, I need a 5, 3, 5. So the question always is right here, am I doing 1, 2 or AB? Well, this would be tough to make that call because of this. That's clear as a bell. There's no disputing the 5. Right now, oh, okay, so 1, 2. You can't, there's no clear count here. Again, that would be just a guess. W, X, Y, X, no, it doesn't fly. A, B, C, W, X, the time and the range is, again, why take the risk there? If I just was determined to trade this, I'd let a 5 play, I'd look for the retrace, and then I'd look for the 5 here, not anticipating this, but just looking for a nice clean zigzag, right? So not every setup is going to give you a home run, right? That'd be a nice clean single. Okay, there we go. One kind of line there. One last little nugget here before I leave, right? For those of you that stuck around this long, this is something that's kind of a good thing to keep. Shit, I can't remember where I got this. But in terms of the Bitcoin cycle dominance, what are we all waiting for? Well, we all want to see is alt season, right? That's where we all want to see, right? Where we're going to see the big returns off of capital investment. So in order to get that, we need Bitcoin dominance down, but we need the Bitcoin price up. It's not what we got. We've got both down. Bitcoin dominance is down. Bitcoin price is down. So we've got down, alt stable. Well, some. But we need, this is the magic combination here. Bitcoin dominance down, price up, then that leads to alt season. And if we go over and look at, oh God, where did I put it? I think it's here. Yeah, here's Bitcoin dominance, right? So if we come back to, let's see if I can get this in here on the same, well, you won't be able to see it. So Bitcoin dominance is down, but Bitcoin price is down, right? That's not what we want. That means the suggestion is alts would be stable off of that. If I bring this back, right? Bitcoin dominance down, Bitcoin price down, alts stable. We need that rally in Bitcoin with dominance staying down, and that leads to the magic formula of alt season. Right now, it's Bitcoin down, dominance down. So everything is a bit of a hold, which, yeah, I know you sit through one of these videos, you're like, oh, come on, man, you're going to give me nothing. Well, I gave you a few of those total revenue coins right over here that look promising, right? So some of these would be worthy of consideration. But going into the weekend, you know, we've got some question marks. Looks like the market has rallied back. So don't force trades, right? It's almost always something you're going to regret. So my suggestion would be don't do it. Just be mindful. Stay over here if you want to stay with good revenue and you're just jonesing for a trade. Stay with things that are making money where you've got good price action. Okay, guys, that's it. Have a good weekend, and I will catch you. I'll be back next Wednesday for a live stream. Okay, until then, have a good one.